thing cannot take you anywhere. I will bury this nonsense.
Auntie, please don't do this. This is all I have. Please.
Some talents refuse to die, no matter how much people try to bury them. This is the story of a girl whose family mocked her handmade slippers until the world started clapping. There lived a young girl named Sewa. Sewa was not loud. She was not troublesome. She was the kind of child people hardly noticed, but her hands were special, very special. Anything she touched, she turned into something beautiful. Unfortunately, beauty does not feed a hungry stomach. Sewa was born into a poor home, painfully poor. Her father was a struggling palm wine tapper, and her mother sold roasted corn by the roadside. Some days they ate once, some days they borrowed food. School fees were always a battle. Uniforms were torn. Shoes were shared between siblings. When Sewa turned 12, her parents had no choice. They sent her to live with her mother's elder sister, Auntie Morayo. In the village, everybody knew Auntie Morayo. She was strict, sharp-tongued, easily angered. She helped people, but she never let them forget it. When Sewa arrived with her small nylon bag, Auntie Morayo looked her up and down and sighed loudly. "So, this is the child I will now be taking care of," she said. From the first day, Sewa knew love did not bring her there. Duty did. Every morning, Auntie Morayo reminded her, "I am the one paying your school fees. Don't waste my money. Don't bring disgrace. Anything I ask you to do, you must do it without hesitation." Sewa nodded and said nothing. But Sewa had a secret love. She loved making slippers. Not the common rubber slippers people wore in the village. Hers were different. She cut old tires, softened them with fire, and shaped them with care. She mixed leather scraps, cloth pieces, rope, and beads. She created patterns nobody had seen before. Some looked like flowers, some like river waves, some like royal designs. At night, when the house was quiet, Sewa sat outside with a lantern. She walked silently, her fingers moving carefully and patiently, stitch by stitch, cut by cut. She was good, very good, the kind of daughter every mother would pray to have. But Auntie Morayo hated it. To her, slippers were rubbish. Anytime she caught Sewa holding leather or rope, her face twisted in anger. "Is this nonsense going to pay your school fees?" she would shout. "Who will wear these ugly village slippers? Do you want to end up useless?" She kicked the slippers aside and sent Sewa on errands. Fetch water, wash plates, sweep the compound, anything to keep her away from that nonsense. But Sewa's love for making slippers refused to die. And then there was Damilola, Auntie Morayo's daughter. Damilola was Sewa's age. Pretty, proud, spoiled. She hated Sewa, not because Sewa did anything wrong, but because Sewa had something she didn't talent. One day, a teacher admired the slippers Sewa wore to school. "Who made this?" the teacher asked. "I did, ma," Sewa answered quietly. Damilola heard it. From that day, she mocked Sewa openly. "See your slippers," she laughed. "They look like something a goat will chew. You think you are a designer." One afternoon, Damilola took Sewa's handmade slippers from her bag in class and raised them up. "See what this girl is doing," instead of reading. The class burst into laughter. Someone threw it. Another stepped on it. By the time Sewa picked it up, it was broken. She ran home crying. But the worst was waiting for her. That evening, Damilola rushed to her mother. "Mommy, Sewa was making slippers in class again. She wasn't listening to the teacher. She wants to disgrace you." That was all Auntie Morayo needed to hear. Her anger rose like fire. "Where is that useless girl?" she shouted. Sewa stepped into the compound and froze. On the ground were all her slippers. Every single one, cut, broken, destroyed. Sewa screamed and fell to her knees. "Auntie, please, that is my hard work. That is all I have." But Auntie Morayo did not stop. When she finished, she said coldly, "Focus on your books. This useless thing will never take you anywhere. That night, Sewa cried until her chest hurt, and something inside her began to change. After the day Auntie Morayo destroyed Sewa's handmade slippers, the house went quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, the dangerous one. It is because you don't have any other work to do that you are busy with this useless thing, Auntie Morayo would shout. From that day, Sewa was no longer a child in the house. She became labor. Every morning, before the first cock crowed, Auntie Morayo kicked her mat. Stand up, no greeting, no explanation. Sewa stood with sleepy eyes and an aching body. She followed Auntie Morayo to the shop every single day. At first, she thought it was temporary. She was wrong. The shop became her prison. She swept before opening. She arranged goods. She carried heavy cartons. She ran errands across the market under the hot sun. If she slowed down even a little, Auntie Morayo hissed, "Are you tired already? Useless child." Market women noticed. Some shook their heads quietly. Some whispered, "Is that not her sister's child?" She treats her like a house girl, but nobody spoke out loud. At home, it was worse. If Sewa ate slowly, she was shouted at. If she ate fast, she was insulted. Food is finishing because of you. You came here with nothing. Damilola made sure life was harder. She sent Sewa on useless errands. Go and fetch water, wash my uniform, clean my shoes. If Sewa refused, Damilola lied to her mother. "Mommy, she is insulting me." And punishment followed. At night, when everyone slept, Sewa lay awake staring at her palms. The same hands that once shaped beauty, now empty. Sometimes, she imagined slippers in her mind, new designs, better patterns, stronger soles. Her fingers moved slightly on the mat, like they remembered. Then fear hit her chest. If Auntie Morayo caught her again, there would be no mercy. So she stopped. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. During break time, Damilola and her friends laughed. "Village girl, market slave. Where are your ugly slippers now?" They laughed harder. Sewa didn't answer them. She didn't cry anymore. At home, Auntie Morayo made it clear. "As long as I am feeding you and paying your school fees, you will work." Sewa nodded. She had learned that nodding was safer than talking. Busy. One afternoon, after closing from the market, Sewa passed by her old school and stopped briefly to rest near the fence. That was when a familiar voice called her name. "Sewa!" She turned. It was her former creative arts teacher. The woman looked at her closely. "You have changed," she said gently. "You don't create anymore. What's wrong with you, Sewa?" Sewa lowered her head. At first, she said nothing, afraid her aunt might find out. Then slowly, she spoke. She told the teacher everything: how her aunt destroyed her slippers, how she was not allowed to make anything again, how she worked in the market every day. The teacher held her hands. "My child," she said, "a gift does not die because someone hates it." She paused, then added, "If you still want to make slippers, don't keep them in your aunt's house." Sewa looked up. "Bring them to me," the teacher said. "I will keep them safe." Sewa hesitated, then cried, "Thank you very much." That night, very late, Sewa walked again, quietly, carefully. She hid scraps under her mat and used a small lantern. When she finished a pair, she wrapped it well. She did not keep it in the house. On market days, when she was sent on errands, she passed by the teacher's house and dropped the slippers there. The teacher kept them safely, and slowly, something inside Sewa came back to life. Not long after that, the village began preparing for the annual cultural festival. The festival was not just for dancing and celebration. It was the day people who worked with their hands were recognized. Basket weavers, leather workers, carpenters, people who created things. On that day, they brought out their work and showed it to the whole village. The king and his chiefs usually attended. Each year, one person was chosen as the most creative artisan. The prize was always big: money, materials to work with, and sometimes land. Because of that, many people looked forward to the festival. At the market, Sewa heard people talk about it while she walked. Some spoke with confidence, some spoke with hope. This year, I will try. My work is better now. Sewa listened quietly. She did not join the conversation. In her heart, she believed the festival was no longer for her. Her days were spent in the markets. Her nights were spent tired. She no longer had time to create anything. Her gift was buried, or so it seemed. Then one morning, the town crier passed through the village. He rang his bell and announced that the festival would hold in 3 days. All artisans were invited to prepare and present their work. Sewa heard the announcement clearly. She lowered her head and continued working because, as far as she was concerned, that day was not meant for her anymore. After Auntie Morayo heard about the coming festival, she called her daughter Damilola and sat her down. "Look at me, my daughter," she said seriously. "A very big festival is coming. I want you to make me proud." Damilola rolled her eyes. "But Mama," she said, "I don't even have any gift. I don't know anything. How will I make you proud?" Auntie Morayo shouted, "Keep quiet. Who said you are not gifted? I will enroll you in Toyosi's basket weaving. You will learn and you will do it well." Damilola shook her head quickly. "Mama, I don't want to do it. That basket weaving is hard. My hands will pain me. I don't want to spoil my hands." Auntie Morayo pulled her closer and hugged her. "Don't worry, my daughter," she said. "You will be fine." While Sewa was being worked to the bone in the market, Damilola began her apprenticeship. She depended on her mother's confidence, not on effort. That was the difference. Sewa worked in silence. Damilola complained in comfort. One was forced, the other was favored. And that gap was already shaping their future even before the festival arrived. Sewa stood by the doorway, listening quietly. Nobody spoke to her. Nobody asked her opinion. The next few days passed quickly. The village grew busier. People talked more about the festival. Some practiced, some prepared their work. Sewa watched everything from the corner of her eye. She said nothing. The days moved quickly. Festival day was drawing close. Auntie Morayo became more tense. She followed Damilola's progress closely, asking questions, correcting her, complaining loudly whenever she was not satisfied. "You must stand out," she kept saying. "People must notice you." Damilola complained often. Her fingers hurt. Her patience was short. Each time she complained, her anger somehow landed on Sewa. "Why are you standing there? Move faster. Do something useful." Sewa obeyed. She did not argue. The night before the festival, Auntie Morayo gave a clear instruction. "Sewa, you will wake up early tomorrow. There is no excuse." Sewa nodded. She did not ask questions. Festival morning came early. Before the sun fully rose, Auntie Morayo was already awake. She moved around the house with purpose, tying her wrapper firmly and giving instructions. Damilola was dressed carefully. Her baskets were arranged and checked again and again. Then Auntie Morayo turned to Sewa. "Get up," she said. "Wash your face." Sewa obeyed. "You are going to the next village," Auntie Morayo continued. "My friend finished sewing my clothes yesterday night. Go and bring them." Sewa paused. "Today, Auntie," she said softly, "please, let me just pass through the festival ground first. I won't stay long." Auntie Morayo's face hardened. "Did I ask for your opinion?" she snapped. "Festival is not for you. Move." Sewa knew better than to argue. She washed quickly, wore her slippers, and stepped outside. As she walked away from the compound, she heard drums in the distance. People were already gathering. Laughter floated through the air. Her chest tightened. She kept walking. When she reached the house in the next village, she knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Still nothing. A woman nearby spoke. She left early this morning. Her child was sick. She rushed to the hospital. Sewa stood still. For a moment, she did nothing. Then she turned and ran. She ran past people heading toward the festival. By the time she reached the village square, the program had already started. She slowed down. Then she stopped. Her slippers were there, displayed neatly among the crafts. She stared, breathing hard, unsure of what she was seeing. Someone had brought them, and in that moment, Sewa understood something clearly. What was sent away had found its way back. Sewa stood there for a long time, not because she did not recognize the slippers, but because she was afraid to believe what she was seeing. They were hers. She knew every cut, every stitch, every small mistake she once wanted to correct. They were arranged neatly, not crowded, not rushed, just as she had always imagined they should be displayed. Her chest rose and fell slowly. People moved around her, but she heard nothing. Then an elderly woman standing beside the table looked at her and said quietly, "You made these slippers." It was not a question. Sewa nodded. "Your teacher brought them very early this morning," the woman added. She said the owner would come. Sewa swallowed hard. She stepped back and stood where nobody would notice her. She did not want attention. Not yet. The festival continued. One by one, artisans were called forward. Basket weavers, cloth makers, leather workers. Each person stepped forward with hope or fear, depending on what their hands had produced. Then Damilola's name was called. Sewa's heart tightened. She watched her cousin walk forward, holding the baskets she had complained about every day. Auntie Morayo stood up immediately, adjusting her wrapper and clapping loudly. "That is my daughter," she said proudly. The judges examined the baskets. One was lifted, turned around, put down. They whispered among themselves. Then one of them shook his head. "This work is common," he said. "There is nothing new here." A murmur passed through the crowd. Damilola's face changed. She tried to speak, but no words came out. She dropped one basket and ran away crying. Auntie Morayo stopped clapping. Her hands dropped to her side. People whispered. Sewa did not smile. She did not feel joy. She only felt quiet. Then a voice called out, "Sewa." People turned. "Which Sewa? Who is that?" Slowly, Sewa stepped forward. Her legs felt weak. The slippers were brought out. The judges bent down. They pressed the soles, touched the leather, studied the patterns closely. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then one of the women seated among the royal guests stood up. "These slippers are different," she said. "I have never seen this kind of work before." Another voice followed immediately. "I want this design." "No," another said quickly. "I want all of them." The crowd murmured loudly. The king raised his hand. Silence returned. He looked directly at Sewa. "Step closer," he said. Sewa obeyed. Her knees were shaking. "Where did you learn this work?" the king asked. She hesitated, then replied quietly, "I taught myself, Your Majesty." The king nodded slowly. "Patience lives in your hands," he said, "and patience cannot be hidden." He turned to the crowd. "This young girl is the most creative artisan of this year's festival." For a moment, Sewa did not react. Then the square erupted. People clapped. People shouted. People called her name. Someone lifted her slightly from behind. She held her breath, trying not to cry. Across the square, Auntie Morayo stood frozen. She did not clap. She did not speak. She only stared. That evening, when Sewa returned home, the gate was locked. She knocked once. No answer. She knocked again. Auntie Morayo's voice came from inside. "You have disgraced my house," she said coldly. "Leave this place." Sewa stood there quietly. She did not beg. She did not argue. She picked up her small nylon bag and turned away. The night air was cold. She walked through the dark village road, until she reached the only place she knew she was safe, her teacher's house. When the teacher opened the door and saw her dusty and tired, she pulled her inside immediately. What happened? She asked. Sewa broke down and told her everything. The teacher held her tightly. Sleep, she said softly. Tomorrow, you will not stand alone. The next morning, the palace was full. Villagers gathered from every corner. Drums beat slowly. The king sat with his chiefs. When Sewa's name was called, she stepped forward with her teacher beside her. Where are your parents or guardians? The king asked. The teacher stepped forward respectfully. Your Majesty, she said, Sewa's parents are far away. She was chased out of her aunt's house. The crowd murmured. The queen stood up sharply. Bring the aunt and her daughter, she ordered. Auntie Morayo and Damilola were brought forward. They trembled. The teacher spoke calmly and told everything. How Sewa was insulted, how her slippers were destroyed, how she was turned into labor, how she was chased out at night. The palace fell silent. The queen's voice was firm. In this kingdom, we do not destroy children's gifts. She turned to Auntie Morayo. For your cruelty, you will sweep the market every morning for 1 year. You will clean the palace compound for 1 year. Let this be a warning. The crowd cheered. Justice had spoken. Sewa received her prize, money, materials, a workshop, and land. From that day, her life changed. She opened her own slipper workshop. Girls came to learn from her. Her designs traveled beyond the village. She built her parents a proper home. A talent that was mocked became a blessing. A gift that was buried lifted a community. And that was how Sewa's story changed. From pain to purpose to legacy.